On what looks likely to be another Saturday of stories and intrigue in the Premier League, there could well be a coronation, too. Sergio Aguero needs 3 goals to become Manchester City's leading goalscorer of all time. Saturday's opposition at the Etihad Stadium are Crystal Palace, and that alone should be enough to make the bookmakers nervous. Aguero, with 6 goals in as many games this season, has been the cornerstone of City's buccaneering start. Given his record, his consistency and his talent, this should not be that notable. Yet it is notable because Aguero's recent story is that of a player surviving and thriving against a background of distrust from his coach. Aguero could have left the Etihad last season when he received a mind-boggling financial offer from China. The numbers would have eclipsed the £615,000 a week earned by his former City teammate Carlos Tevez at Shanghai Shenhua. Had Aguero asked to go, Pep Guardiola would have happily sanctioned the deal.Just this summer. Meanwhile, Aguero was the subject of interest from Chelsea, and this time his head was briefly turned. Why wouldn't it be? The 29-year-old New City were trying to buy Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal, and that Guardiola favoured the young Brazilian Gabriel Jesus for the other forward position. Again, Aguero could have gone.He. New City chairman Khaldoon Al Mubarak was against the idea. The two men have had a strong relationship ever since Aguero secured City's first Premier League title with his famous goal against QPR in 2012. But he knew the move to Stamford Bridge, into the arms of a coach who really wanted him, could happen if he pushed the right buttons. Ultimately, counseled by his cautious, reputable agent Hernan Reguera, those buttons went unpressed again. Aguero stayed at City, Sanchez's move to Manchester fell down, and here we are. City are top of the table. Aguero is the joint top scorer in the Premier League and only one more stellar afternoon away from making a mark in his club's history that may never be rubbed out. All this points to the enduringly uncertain nature of a footballer's life. Aguero's summer decision had implications not only for him and for young Jesus but also for Alvaro Morata, who would eventually move from Real Madrid to become Antonio Conte's main striker at Chelsea. It also tells us much about Aguero's psychological makeup. It tells of the South American's unwavering belief that, whatever the situation or obstacle, his talent will always see him through. With that in mind, read this fascinating vignette from Aguero's former City teammate Frank Lampard. Talking on Sky about Aguero, Lampard said, "He was so laid back he would just stroll out to the training pitch like 5 minutes late. The coaches would say, 'Right, you're fined,' and he would say, 'Okay, no problem. Wait until the weekend and I'll score a hat-trick and everyone will be happy.'" Sources close to City verify that Aguero is not a great trainer. But on a Saturday or Sunday, the records indicate that he has usually been okay. Certainly his peers have respected and feared him during his 6 years in the Premier League. "I have played with the best and he is right at the top," said Lampard. Former Manchester United defender Rio Ferdinand said, I love him. He was a nightmare for me to play against. For whatever reason, Guardiola has been short on affection for the South American since he arrived at City in summer 2016. Without a doubt, the incoming coach wished to break up, or at least shake up, the cartel he felt lay at the heart of what had been an underperforming dressing room in the latter days of Manuel Pellegrini. Goalkeeper Joe Hart was jettisoned and so was Samir Nasri. Aguero and Yaya Touré, meanwhile, were retained but on a considerably reduced footing. The coach was making his mark. Last October, for example, Aguero started on the bench as City were embarrassed 4-0 at Barcelona in the Champions League. Guardiola began without a recognized striker that day and only introduced his best goal scorer in the 79th minute, with the score already 3-0. By January the two men were sitting in a Manchester restaurant at a meeting we now understand was aimed at clearing the air. If it worked, it was only partial. The relationship remains polite and respectful at best. Subsequently, with Aguero standing his ground, Guardiola has sought to reshape him into the kind of forward player he likes, one who contributes in areas other than just the penalty area. Whether Aguero's impressive output this season and last is down to his manager's insistence that he changes the way he plays or merely indicative of supreme natural talent depends on which side of the argument you sit. What is beyond doubt is Aguero has always scored goals. His season's tallies at City in all competitions reads 30, 17, 28, 32, 29 and 33. What's more, he scores important goals, goals that define matches. Aguero doesn't decorate games with, say, the third in a 4-0 win. In the last 26 games in which he has scored for City, Aguero has either given his team the lead or equalized on 21 occasions. This season his assist numbers are up, too, and Lampard credits Guardiola for this. If Aguero hadn't changed and had he carried on playing the same way, I think he might have a problem, he said. I think Guardiola has improved him. Aguero's gifts were not recognized in the FIFPro list of top 55 players in Europe announced this week, and he has never been named in a PFA Team of the Season in England. That does not unduly trouble him. He is a good guy, not without ego, but certainly not the worst from that point of view, said a well-placed source. He is a nightmare when he isn't playing well, but most strikers are like that. You would take more like him. Aguero overcame challenges at City prior to Guardiola's arrival. He struggles with the English language, and the breakdown of his marriage to Maradona's daughter Giannina means he only sees his son Benjamin periodically. He now has a new partner, pop singer Karina Tejeda. Under pressure to return to Argentina and finish his career where it started at Independiente, Aguero is so sensitive on the issue that he asked the club not to officially announce the signing of a new City contract last year. That was an unprecedented move in English football. At City they simply have reason to be grateful he did sign, that he is still around. In Guardiola's wonderfully expressive team, Aguero remains, against sizable odds, absolutely fundamental.